I learned a valuable lessons from my plant today, all about stagnation and sameness and how it truly affects where you're going. Let me tell you something, these plants be preaching to me, you understand? But go ahead and like and subscribe, come back, and then I'll tell you why. So I just recently became a plant mom, right? Yay! Hooray! She's a hero! But that's how I feel inside. And got one, and they don't tell you nothing about these plants. They don't tell you that when you get your first one and you get a little bit of success, if you have a high sense of reward, like me, you went from 1 to 400,000,600 zillion in like 2 seconds. So I'm getting all the plants. I like the colors. I like I like, just give me all the plants. You understand? And I went to the big store shops, the Lowe's and the Home Depots, and because let me baby step. Let me go where I can ask someone, what does that mean? Where do I put this kind of thing? Like, give me the bare basics, because what I've learned is that because you work there doesn't mean you know how to, you're not a florist. You're not someone that actually, like, I've asked questions. I'm like, so does this one, what soil does this one need? And they were like, and we were doing the Diddy meme. I'm staring at you, you staring at me, we staring at each other. To the point that some of them have just gone out and just been like researching with me on the spot, but that's neither here nor there. So there were a couple of plants, I want to say 3, that I noticed, like, man, it doesn't matter where I move you to get the sunlight that's needed. It doesn't matter how often or how infrequent I'm watering. Like, it seemed like, okay, bro, like, when I got you, you was full, you was blossoming. I know you getting better treatment here than you were in Lowe's, because you was in a corner. And I was like, oh, what's this one? I had to like try to get all the dead leaves off to see if it was even worth purchasing. And I was like, you know what? I've even repotted some. But today I felt like, yo, take the pot and like the plant and take it out the pot completely. Cool. Take it out the pot. I noticed that there was like this mesh net kind of thing, to the point that I'm like, this had to have been a part of the plant maybe when it was like smaller, and they just was like, and they just kept taking it and putting it in different pots and letting it as it got larger. So I was like, okay. So I was like taking off this like mesh, and I could see the roots of it, like just like entwined and impacted in it. So I was like, okay, did that for one. I was like, maybe that's why, no matter how much more sunlight, no matter how much more water I gave, I even went and got the little plant thing that you stick a thermometer thing in, and it tells you the level of dryness that is in the soil. And I was like, that's why no matter what I was doing externally, this plant stopped growing. No matter what I did externally, the plant stopped growing. And I would love to give you a fast forward, like, and now and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that I literally changed the plant today. But what I did do is say, man, if this plant is like this and it had the mesh, I wonder if the other 2 that look like, man, what's going on? I'm giving you plant food is doing the same thing. Do you know that it had the same type of mesh stocking wire looking thing? And the crazy part is that it wasn't obvious to the eye. I had to dig, because my idea was, well, let me see, I just want to clear the roots up, because what I started to do was just take it out the pot, put some new dirt in, put it in there, and then kind of like keep it. But I felt led to, no, scrape that old stuff out. Scrape that old, whatever was on it, like you need to. And I literally felt like you were so corroded in your root system that there's no way you would have grown. It didn't matter how pretty the pot was. It didn't matter how much sunlight I was giving it. It didn't matter that I'm doing all the things that I'm looking up, like these are the things that make plants grow. But sometimes you got to get to the root in the soil of a problem. And I feel like that's what we do so often. So often we think it's the job that we're currently at. Oh, wait, when we change jobs, for sure we're going to feel different. It's the relationship that we're currently in. Or it's the fact that we're not in a relationship now. It's the fact that we don't have the car that we really like, right? It's the fact that, no, because you don't understand, because when I get the home that I really want, and I get to decorate the way that I really want, and we think that these external things that are going to make you feel better, that are going to promote this blossoming, that you're going to start growing, you're going to start feeling different. And the reality is that if you don't sit down long enough and thoroughly enough to actually let God go into the root system of your soul, right? Plants have soil. We have soul. It's one letter off. And if you don't let him take out all that what was there, because you carrying stuff from previous stores, previous relationships, previous pots, plants, that you don't even realize. Just because it's growing with you, it's going to stop your growth at some point. I wish that I literally had a before picture. The reason I got the plant and how I was choosing the plants was the one that looked like it was the fullest, because I wanted it to keep growing in that way. So when the leaves started doing what it's doing and I had to prune it, and I'm like, what is going on? At some point, the external indications on this plant needs to trigger. I have to go deeper. I have to go where the eyes do not see. I have to do something different. And I feel like if we were to just take a cue from the plants that literally mimic us, because we need sunlight. If not, your mood's going to be off. You need that sun, okay? Have a nice day. I know you don't have to be out there for a good time, just a short time, okay? You need your water. And external environments mean something to you, whether you want to realize it or not. And so I literally, sitting there, I had an epiphany. I'm like, yo, I'm like, what's wrong with the plant? I was even getting ready to just say, you know what, then maybe plants aren't for me. Oh, you know what, this particular plant, because I have other plants that are doing well. But that doesn't mean that you do the same thing for everything that comes into your life. You ever had a situation where you're like, yo, I've had worse bosses than this. Why do I feel this way now? I used to commute that far. Why do I feel like I don't want to commute and I'm closer now? Like, you'll start to see, how come I don't feel the same? How come I'm not responding the same? How come? And it's just a small little difference. And that's because you are not picking up the cues from your soul. Your soul is saying, do you realize that something is different? You're like, yes, but I'm going to keep doing the same thing. That is insanity. Because I would have been misled to believe that, you know what? Something's wrong with this plant. Yes, but did you take the time to figure out what? Did you take the time to figure out how come when she speaks to me, I feel like that? Did you take the time to feel like, put some, as I like to lovingly call it, put some facts to your feelings. And I said, you know what, plant, y'all better preach. You understand? Like, does Lowe's and Home Depot have a tithe bucket that we can, just give to the cause? Because I literally was sitting there like, wow. Because I was just going to do a flimsy, oh, okay, I took you out that pot, I put you in a new one, what's wrong? And then I felt like, maybe I should clear some of this up. And if I could, I had to literally take so much off that by the time that I saw it, I had to ask myself, how long has this been on this? How long has it been this way? And I feel like, much like the plant, sometimes we grow beyond our situations. We grow anyway. We grow in spite of. We grow and we keep going. And it's cool, but at some point, it's going to catch up to you. At some point, money's not going to be enough. At some point, taking the selfies and going on the trips is not going to be enough. At some point, you're going to have to sit and go, so what's the problem? And then remove what's preventing your growth. Repot yourself. Find out if you even in the right soil. Because most of the time I was looking at my plants, I'm like, I thought that this one is supposed to get, I had to look up, what soil do you take? It was like, I'm just thinking every plant gets it. It's like, no. Some plants need faster drainage. Other plants need, I'm like, this is like a whole, it's like a thing. And if it's that intense and tedious with a plant, imagine your life. Like, yo, you know how long it took me to be like, okay, I don't think corporate is it for me. And that tap on the shoulder didn't even come to me, if I'm being honest, just in and of itself. My husband had to be like, so, okay. I don't think you're going to find the job that's for you, because you get in there and you get so excited and you want to promote change and you want to, because I go to jobs and I was expecting longevity, but I can't be anywhere where there's no growth. And so if I see that something's not working, I always have the bright idea. Hey, quick question. Do you think that maybe we could extend lunch on Fridays or something to that effect, or also something? So, can we do something that looks like what you haven't done before? But the problem with management is, because there has been growth continuously, because they've been in business this long, because they've always done, this is the way we've done a thing, because it's always been that, then they feel like, no. Why should we change the pot, even if it makes the plant better, if we've been growing with the things that is going to eventually stop the growth? So if eventually it's not here yet, you sit down, ma'am. And sit down, I did. Yeah, because no. You understand? This whole entire video was to drive home the point of, do not mistake growth for growth. Do not mistake growth when it actually is stagnation. You're doing the same thing, the same way, and you feel different, and you're not responding to that difference, and you're continuing to go, and you're continuing to go, and you're continuing to go. Stop. Like, for real, stop. And say, okay, maybe that worked 5 years ago. Maybe that worked a relationship or two ago. Maybe that worked in that prior season. But I can't turn a blind eye anymore to it's not working now. So now do the work. And yeah, it may get a little messy. You may get something under your nails. You may come across, but you know what? You identify what the issue is. And once you identify the issue, that's when real growth happens. So that when someone else comes up to you and they say, man, I don't know, I had this plant and it's not growing, you can say, have you checked the roots? Yeah, I need you to really go as far as you can go into the roots and see if you see something meshing it together. Because, plot twist, I went on this Facebook group plant mom thing, and someone mentioned that, but it hasn't been, the subject of choice, or it hasn't been really loud enough for me to go, hey, let me go check all my plants. I just saw a passerby or comment, man, I saw this mesh stuff on my roots, and I was like, okay, great. It didn't apply to me because it wasn't a problem for me yet. That's why I have these videos every week, because I am literally learning so much that I said, I'm gonna have to document this journey, because it is absolutely, I'm mind blown on the things that I'm learning and the applications that I'm getting. And let me explain something to you. You can, when you are in a season of being a student to whatever is not right in your life, you can learn from anything. And God is He's just dope enough that He was like, today I want you to learn from your plants. I was like, will do. So listen, subscribe, the YouTube thing, right? The comments, do all the stuff. Share it with people. Just just help your girl out, okay? Every week, every Thursday, we do this, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and let me go. We talk later. Later.